Hello and welcome back, my viewers and subscribers. And in today's video, we'll be discussing the different techniques that are used to pull cable. Wire cabling can be very easy and simple once it's planned and thought out properly. With the different techniques out there for wire cable pulling, it's no wonder that the cable is pulled through quickly and efficiently. As you come in, you can hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Stay tuned for my latest content. Wire cabling can be done very easily and efficiently. And also, it takes most of the time 2 people to pull wire cable, depending on how many cables you're pulling, the size of cable you're pulling, and the conduit you're pulling into. Let's start off with regular 14-2 Romex. Anything that's on a spool that you purchase from the supplier, you can basically put those wires on to a wire rack with the proper piping to support it onto the wire rack. You set your cable up, you're able to pull wire alone. You don't need a second person for that, as long as you have it on a wire rack. Also, most of the time what I do is I will pull cable. When I pull my cable, I make sure I pull my cable downwards and not upwards, as you can occur an injury of some sort when pulling wire cable. So I always try to pull down with gravity and not up. It makes it harder, and you're working the body harder, you're working your hands harder. So I never pull down. Sorry, I never pull up. I always try to pull down. Meaning I will go on the second floor. If I'm pulling to the first floor, if I have to jump my cables down, which I normally wouldn't link the first floor and the second floor together, I will pull my cable if I have to. If I have to pull cable from the basement up to the main floor, then I will set up my wire rack on the first floor, and I will pull my cable downwards, as that's the best technique to pull cable. Always make sure to have 2 sets of ladders, as it's easier for you to maneuver, and you're not carrying one ladder up and down the stairs. You're basically trying to preserve your energy for the rest of the day. When pulling any other kind of wire, when it comes to Romex, I will do the same thing. I will set up my spool. I'll set up my wire rack. I always travel with my wire rack. As you come in, you can hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I always travel with my wire rack. I never leave it at home. It's always on me in the truck, always on the job site, as it becomes a very vital part of your everyday life when it comes to wire pulling. When it comes to pulling cable through conduit, it becomes a little bit harder. As you come in, you can hit the like, share, and subscribe button. You can also leave a comment in the chat room. Pulling cable through pipe can become very complex if you don't know what you're doing. Basically, what I mean by, as you come in, you can hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Stay up to date to my content. As you wire cable pulling through conduit can be very hard, depending on the number of 90s you have, which you're only allowed a max of 3 90s, as it makes it easier to pull cable. Anything over 3 90s will become a little bit difficult, and you will require that second person. If you're pulling smaller cable through a conduit, there's tricks that I usually use where I would set up my wire rack, set up my wires, and I will maneuver those wires over the top of the ladder where it's not nicking anything. You don't want your wires to nick at the side of the pipe because they will damage it as it goes through the conduit. And once you turn on that circuit, it will become a dead short once your wires are touching inside the conduit. So always remember when pulling wire cable through conduit to find something to position your wires so they're not nicking at the corners of the conduit, and it will not damage your cable. Also, there's something called lube that you can use. As you come in, you can hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Also, there's something called lube that you can use to pull cable. It's called Yellow 77. I use it a lot of the times. A little bit of Yellow 77 on the tip of your wire, or sometimes I will place it inside the conduit, and once I'm pulling cable, then as the cable comes, the wire will come and the lube will start to work its magic. The lube can become very messy, so try to have a cloth, rag of some sort, and also always remember to clean your wires off with the lube. You shouldn't have any type of stuff on the lube once you're ready to tie your wires into the panel or even into wherever you have pulled these cables. There's many ways you can pull cable when it comes to a number of cables in the pipe. Sometimes you could be pulling as much as 20 cables, and there's also a code on how many amount of wires should go in the cable, should go into the pipe. You can also derate these cables, and I try not to derate anything as it becomes very tricky, and the code rules are very specific when you mix different cables in the pipe. So for this reason, I try not to mix my cables um, of any sort. I try to stick to a certain amount of cables to be pulled through, as it makes it very easier for you. You can also stagger these cables. When it comes to staggering your cable now, depending on how many wires you have going through that pipe, once you begin to stagger your cable, it makes it easier for the head to come out at the other end in terms of not connecting all 20 cables at the same time. You can start off with about 4 cables, you stagger down about a foot, you make another set of cables, you stagger down again, you make a net set, you tape them up. Obviously there's different ways to taping. It has to be firm, secure. Your tape has to be not cold, not left in the cold, as it would not work as efficient. And once you've staggered these wires now and you're ready to pull cable, you'll find that your pulling becomes very easy for you. Of course, there's bigger conduit where it gets trickier. With bigger cable, there's many ways of pulling. Bigger conduit, there's many ways of pulling cable. You can either use a string, nylon string, double it up. Nylon string works great. I remember using nylon string years ago. Nylon string works good. As you come in, you can hit the like. You can also subscribe to the channel, stay up to date to the content. Nylon string works great, but it can be damaged very fast once it's touching the edge of the pipe. Always try to stay in front of that pipe that you're pulling so your wires are coming through the pipe smooth and you're not overworking yourself. And also, when you're pulling bigger cable, try to have someone at the other side who's guiding those wires through for you. And there's usually a count that you use: one, two, three, go. That means on that third count, you pull, the person on the other side will push that cable through for you. And that's how basically we will pull cable through a conduit. You can also use a fish stick, it's called. There's either a nylon fish tape or a metal fish tape you can use. I try not to use the metal one as it can become very difficult and tangle as it's coming. Most of the time when I'm using metal fish tape, if that bend is too hard, I will take my pliers and I will simply use my pliers to pull that fish tape. As it becomes very hard on your hands. So I'll take my pliers, I'll put it onto the fish, and I will use my techniques to pull my cable, avoiding any hurt of my hands, any cutting of my hands. And I always wear gloves. There's also a tool, a machine you can use to pull heavy cable, but this becomes very dangerous as you have to secure this unit onto the floor, onto the wall. It has to be the proper weight for the cable, as it can become very dangerous. You have to use the proper bolts to secure it onto the wall. And basically, what will happen now is you will pull a rope. Also, you can use, there's something called, there's nylon rope you can also use to pull cable. So what will happen is you can pull this nylon rope. Obviously, it has to be the proper size rope to be able to pull those cables. And you have to have a strong connection with this rope onto your wires. Not, it will just come loose, break off, and you have to restart again your pull. So this machine that you use basically will do the pulling for you. You'll set up your spool. You'll have someone on the other end to guide those wires in, and you will turn the machine on. It's mostly used for runs of uh, maybe 100 feet. In commercial, you see it a lot. In the bigger industry, commercial industry, industrial is where you would use this machine to pull cable. As we don't require it in homes because we're not using big cables to pull through someone's home. So for that reason, Most people who work in houses will probably not have an idea what I'm talking about. I myself prefer to use a rope to pull cable as it pulls cable efficiently for you. The rope is stronger, it's firmer, it's way easier than pulling with a fish stick or pulling with a nylon fish stick. Always remember to use lube, as the lube will make it very easy to pull through your pipe. With a little bit of lube, it does the trick. If you find when you're pulling cable and your cable is stuck, you can put some lube into that pipe onto the wires, lather it down, and then you just go ahead and start to pull, and you'll see the difference. Always remember the key here is not to damage your wires because you don't want it dead short once you power up those circuits. Always remember never to pull your cable on the other side, having the cable downwards where it's nicking the pipe for damage of that cable. When pulling cable through EMT pipe, that's where it becomes dangerous, and that's where you're more than likely to nick your wires because EMT obviously is some type of metal, and it will damage your cables faster. Like I said, wire cabling mostly takes two people to pull, but however, there's techniques you can use to pull your cable alone. I've used those techniques sometimes and it's worked. Please like, share, and subscribe as you come in. You can leave a comment in the comment section. You can also leave a comment in the chat room. As I say, pulling cable can be tough, and most of the time it's difficult. But with the right techniques applied for doing the job, it can be done. And it can be done without nicking your wires and simply putting lube at the end of those cables that you're starting to pull. It will basically lube up that pipe for any bends that you encounter, and guide your cable through smoother. So that's basically today's topic, which was tips on pulling cable. I'd like to give a shout out to Asa Mario, Gaza Uncle, Revives TV, Jamaica Entertainment, Jamaica Vibe Entertainment TV, and I also like to give a shout out to Trill. Hold it down. See you soon. And also, please, people, you can subscribe to my channel for more content. You can leave a comment in the comment section. You can hit the like, share, and subscribe. You can turn on your notifications to all to stay up to date to my content and my next video. And I will see you guys on the next one.